to a new episode of Sugarfolk Homemade, my podcast where I talk about all of the things I have been crafting. If you are new here, my name is Michaela, and I'm coming to you from a very small town in North Carolina where I live with my husband and our 3 beautiful children. If you are returning, welcome back. I have lots to share today, and I am very, very excited. If you follow me on Instagram, you will already know why I'm excited, because I finally finished one project that has taken me like almost 6 months, actually longer than 6 months, and then this. So grab yourself something to drink. I had ice water. It's so hot here right now. I had ice water when I sat down, and it's now just water. Still cold though. So anyways, grab yourself something to drink and let's jump right in. I feel like I forgot something, but oh well. So first things first, what I'm wearing, this is my just finished blocking yesterday Kala top. And this is by, let me find my paper. I've been saying that it was by Pip and Pen, because that's what the pattern when I printed it out says, but I think on the pattern page on Ravelry there was a different name. It was like Megan something, I believe. I'll have the links for everything in the description box, so you can go check them out. Yeah, this is just a little cropped t-shirt. I will stand up and show you what it looks like. It's always a little tricky with this microphone, but okay, so we've got this really pretty lace detail up top, and then just stockinette, and then there is a twisted rib at the bottom, and it hits right at my waistline, which is exactly where I wanted it to hit. I just can't say enough good things about this top. I was a little weary about it before I blocked it because I tried it on and it was kind of like hugging me in the abdomen, and that's not really how it's supposed to look, or at least not how I wanted it to look. But the gauge is so stretchy that I was able to stretch it out quite a bit in blocking, and it's still like it's not see-through, so it worked out perfect. I made what size did I make? I made the medium size in hopes of getting the measurements of the small. As I mentioned before, I'm a bit of a tight knitter, and I did do a small gauge swatch for this, just because I knew I wanted this to fit right. Like, it's not something that I wanted to be too small or too big. Sometimes sweaters you can get away with a little give on either side, but this needed, for me, I wanted it to be perfect. So I did do a small gauge swatch and decided to go up a size in order to get the size below. I didn't do measurements at the end, so I can't tell you if it's actually came out a size small, but I think that it did because I'm usually a size small. So I used my yarn that I spoke about a few episodes ago that Ashley from Uprooted Farm and Fiber Company sent to me a few months ago so graciously, in the colorway Rosalie. Goodness, my throat is so scratchy. Named Rosalie after my daughter. It's just this beautiful purple with some not really speckles, but I don't really know all the terms. Variegation, there's another word, I don't know, but it's got some different colors going on, which I really like. And it felt like it was perfect for this project, and I still have, she gave me 3 hanks of it, and I still have 1.5, so I still have a lot more room to make lots of other things. And it is a fingering weight yarn, which is what this calls for, and it also, I think I used the recommended needles, which are a US 5 and a US 6. I looked through the pattern page, and it seemed like other people ended up doing less rows of this lace than I did because you had to do it to a certain point or to a certain length, and I think my row gauge is a little short, so I ended up having to do a little bit more than others. But when I blocked it, I was able to stretch it lengthwise to help some more. The only thing that I wish was different is that I wish these laid a bit flatter like they do in the pictures. But that could also be my fault because I think I may have picked up too many stitches for the I-cord on the end. I think if I would have done less, it would have kind of tapered it in a little bit. But that comes back to the fact that the pattern has you pick up so many stitches per row of lace, and because I did more rows of lace than probably intended, I ended up with more stitches. Should have thought that through, but it's all good. I still love it, and I'm still going to wear it any chance that I get. And if you're wondering, I use Chigu. Is that how you say it? Yeah, Chigu. Chigu needles. They're all I have, honestly. I have a pack of bamboo needles from Amazon, but they're so cheap. They're worthless, basically. I use them for cables, and that's about it. So I use Chigu for everything. So yeah, that's my collar top. This took me about 2 months. Besides me, I think that this would be a very quick knit. Like, you could probably do it in 3 weeks, I would say. I am one of those people, I have like a million things going on at one time because I get really bored of the same project. So I usually try to have like at least 4 projects, and I kind of have my schedule set up to where I work on certain things at certain times. Like, I have a project that I work on at nap time, which is usually something more attention focused. That doesn't make sense. That needs more attention. And then I'll have something that I work on in the mornings while the kids are playing, and then I'll have something that I work on in the afternoons while the kids are playing, and then another thing that I work on when my husband and I watch TV after the kids go to bed. So a little bit of something all throughout the day, and so things take a bit longer, but it keeps me from getting bored of all the projects. I think I hear one of my children crying. I will be right back. That I am back. My 4-year-old thinks that he does not need to nap anymore, so he is playing in the kitchen. If you hear noises, that is him. I don't remember where I was, but I'm gonna move on to the next finished object, which is why I'm so excited today, because I finally finished it. I've literally been talking about this since my very first episode, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And this is my, I've got a hair on me. This is my Weekender Light in all its finished glory. It's a little wrinkly. I'm so excited. So, if you've been here for a while, you know that I've kind of been on a journey with this sweater because I wasn't crazy about this color because I did not intend for this yarn to be used for this sweater, but anyways, worked through it and I grew to love the color. And although this took a bit of a hibernation, once I got back to working on it, I was just like, I gotta get this thing done. I want to wear it. And I finished it just in time for fall, because I think fall, the first day of fall is in less than a month, I believe. And so this is the Weekender Light by Andrea Mowry. Her patterns are so gorgeous. She has come out with a couple new ones recently that I'm drooling over big time. But this is the Weekender Light. Uses a fingering weight yarn. I used a 100% cotton yarn, Sheepyez Cotton 8. And I actually really like the fabric that it produced. It's pretty drapey. I just really like it. And I knit the size. Did I not even record what size that I made? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I knit the size 3, and I believe I did that in order to get the size 2, because that's what she is wearing in the pictures, is the size 2, and that's the look that I was going for, and I feel like we're roughly around the same size. And again, I think I did like the tiniest swatch ever to exist. Like, not even worth it. And I was a little bit too tight, so I went up a size in the pattern. And again, I didn't measure my finished object, but it fits exactly how I wanted it to, so I'm gonna call that a win. And did you just blow my candle out? Now it smells like smoke in here. You blew my candle out.
I did. Really silly boy, Mom.
Yeah, you are.
I blowed it because my wizard was about to be hot.
Oh, okay. He just informed me that he blew the candle out because he didn't want his lizard to get hot. He caught a lizard, or I caught a lizard for him after lunch today. It scurried under the kitchen door, and so he got excited and I caught it for him, that's probably why he won't nap today, because he's too excited about the lizard. Anyways, moving on. I did use the recommended needles again, which were
Mommy,
US 4,
I have magic.
US 5, okay, US 4 for the main fabric, US 5 for the sleeves, and US 2 for the ribbing. Actually, there was a note about going up in
Mommy,
sleeve
but
size.
he's about to eat.
Okay,
Because
buddy.
He was just holding his
Can you go play in the kitchen, please?
I was gonna watch my wizard.
Okay. She recommended going up a needle size for the sleeves because a lot of people tend to knit tighter when you're in a small circumference, which absolutely seemed to be true for me. I went up a size to the US 5, and the sleeves even are still a little bit snug on my arms, and I have really tiny arms, so I can't figure out if I actually knit tight or not, like in general, because sometimes it seems like I do and sometimes I don't. I have no idea. But it fits like a glove. I am very, very happy with it. And I'm so glad to have it off the needles. This has been what I work on in the evenings when my husband and I watch TV. So I will be replacing this with a sweater for him coming up, which I was showing you guys last episode the yarn that I bought for him. And I told you guys that I was going to make him a sweater, but I couldn't remember the name of the pattern. So I brought it over here to share with you. I haven't started it yet. I did do a small swatch of this sweater for him, and by swatch I mean very, very small. Took me about 10 minutes. I just made a tiny little, because I needed to do it in the round. So I did enough so that I could measure flat 2 inches and just do half of the thing, you know, do the math, half of the gauge. And I, for once in my life, have a looser gauge than the pattern. So, which I also saw a lot of other people had that same gauge on the project page. So the designer must have a pretty tight gauge. But the sweater that I'm choosing to do for him is the So Basic sweater by Maxim CYR. It's just a basic raglan sweater, and it has, this is black and white, so it's kind of hard to see. I'll try and put a picture up here. It has like a very shallow rib in the arms, pretty spaced out, like it looks like there's a purl row maybe like every 10 stitches or so, just to give a little texture to the arms. And there is a pocket that's sewn on in this pattern, which I'm not going to be doing because he's not a fan of that. He just wants the sweater. And he's usually a size large, but according to these measurements, he would actually wear an extra large, but since my gauge is a little bit big, I'm going to make the large, and fingers crossed it comes out fitting. Okay. So yeah, that was kind of a random section thrown in there. So moving on to works in progress. After I take a sip of water.
Hey, Mommy, when I sit with my wizard now, it doesn't wet,
Okay.
but it's being still.
So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw that I finally picked back up on this pair of socks that I've been working on. These have also been on the needles for a long time because they've just been sitting in our van, and I would just work on them in the car sometimes, like a row or two, so they didn't get very far. But now that I have 2 projects off the needles, I thought I am getting to work and getting these socks done. So as always, I'm keeping socks in this little thrifted purse, and I am working on the toe right now, which is very exciting. I originally was going to do the contrast color. This is the same yarn as my collar top. I was going to use this on the toes as well, but I just finished weaving in ends from this and my Weekender Light, that when I thought about changing to that for the toe, I said, that's just more ends I'm going to have to weave in. Nah, forget it. So it's just a contrast heel, which I think is still going to look nice. Almost done with these, and then I'm going to pick up the second one and try to get them knocked out because these have been on for way too long. And what I'm doing is a 1x1 rib at the top. For me personally, I really like the 1x1 rib as opposed to like the 2x2. I just feel like it looks more like dainty and feminine. I don't know. I like the 2x2 for my husband, but I like the 1x1 for myself. And ideally, I would like the ribbing to be longer, but I'm one of those people that I start the ribbing and I get so sick of doing the ribbing that I cut it short until it's just like doable, and then I keep going, and it's fine. And an eye partridge heel, my favorite, and then it's just stockinette, and I'm doing, I believe this is a rounded toe. I don't know all the different terms. I've pretty much always used the same toe. So yeah, these are almost done, and these are with my Regia 4-ply sock yarn in the colorway Cardamom. Really, really like this self-striping color scheme. I am finding out that even though I don't consciously think that I am a pink and purple person, I'm really kind of like, they just keep showing up in my life. Like this shirt, when I was picking out the color for this, I started out saying something neutral, and then I was talking to Ashley and she was like, okay, this or this, and then somehow I ended up with purple, and I love it. And then these, it's like the same color scheme, and then my pants are the same, like all the same kind of colors. And even this bag, like it's just all, it all works together, and I just find it funny. So yeah, those are those socks. I'm ready to have those complete because I have 3 more sets of sock yarn that I am dying to cast on and start socks in other colors. So hopefully the next time I see you, these will be done and I'll have a new pair going. My next work in progress is my shawl for the Across the Pond Shawl Cow. It ends at the end of September, and I don't think that I'm going to have this finished because it's actually supposed to be pretty large. But I've gotten quite a good bit finished. I really need to start putting progress keepers. Just heard a strange noise. I need to start putting progress keepers when I film so I can actually see how far I've come. But I always forget. But anyways, I've definitely made progress. I know that. This is the Favorite Things shawl by Peg Britt. And this is how much I have done. This is an asymmetrical shawl, so you keep going like this. It's a free pattern, by the way. You keep going like this and adding, you do a knit front and back at the end of this side every time. So it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and then at the end, when it's as big as you want it, you do some ribbing across the side. And I cannot wait to wear this. It's going to be like a blanket, basically. which I am totally fine with. Is your sister awake? I feel like I hear someone talking back there. So yeah, this is how it's going. I would say I'm about like 40% finished, not quite halfway, but making good progress. Okay, I'll get her up in just a minute, bud. I got a couple cute progress keepers on here. I've showed these before. And this is cotton yarn. This is the Sugar Wheel Honeybee Cotton Solids in the colorway Iron Fog. I really like this color, and this is going to go with like pretty much everything because it's just like a neutral blue. I'm very excited. I don't think I'll have it finished by the end of this cowl at the end of September, but I don't think it'll be too much longer after that. Hopefully. I should at least have it done by the winter so that I can wear it when it's nice and cold. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. I realized I just realized I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and messages are coming through, so if you can hear that notification sound, I'm very sorry. Next work in progress, quit, is my Jupiter crop. Oh, I forgot to mention. I always forget things. My shawl is being kept in this bag from Ragtag Quilt Art. On Etsy, I'll put the shop link in the description. And my next work in progress is being held in this lovely basket. And this is my Jupiter crop, which has been in hibernation for a while, basically since I started this. What is he doing? What are you doing? Just getting into trouble. Where's the other ball of yarn? Oh, it's just the one. Okay. So, I have made some pretty good progress on this. I just picked this back up yesterday or the day before. And I'm ready to split for the sleeves. Porter, stop. I need that light. Don't turn the lights off. If you want the lights off, go in the kitchen and turn those lights off. I think he wants this lizard to take a nap. So, I'm ready to split for the sleeves, but I'm waiting until I can sit down and focus on it because I don't want to mess anything up. It's pretty squished on these needles. I have some little blockers on it, and thank goodness I do because the baby got a hold of this yesterday and my balls of yarn were strewn all over the place and I panicked, but thankfully this was still intact. So it's kind of hard to get the shape because it's so squished. But this is just such a beautiful pattern and honestly a very easy color work in my opinion. This is the first color work I've ever done. But you very rarely have to have more than 2 colors going. I just had 2 colors going in this row right here. But I think that might have been the first time, or maybe like when it switches each time. And there's also not that many stitches in between colors, so I didn't find myself having to catch floats that often. Maybe a couple times, a couple rows, but for the most part they catch themselves because the stitches are close enough together. And of course I'll show you guys the inside because that's just the most satisfying part, to me anyways. I love seeing the inside of color work. So fascinating. This is the Jupiter crop by Caitlin Hunter. All the yarn I'm using is Cascade 220 Sport. And this is something that I did a very small gauge, very small gauge swatch. And I ended up going up a needle size and up 2 sizes in the pattern because I just felt like I was way off. And I didn't do a gauge swatch with that, but it's turning out fine. I've slipped it over my head a couple times by putting a cord extension on it. Stop. Go play. And it seems to have been fine. So once I get the sleeves split, I can try it on again, and fingers crossed it's going good. Go play. I'll be right back. Sorry, I had to persuade him to go play. So that's all my current projects. I did, as I mentioned last time, I wanted to start showing you guys some past projects. So I brought a couple more with me today, and it seems like there's a running theme that they all belong to my daughter. And that's because I didn't start crafting until she was a baby, and the things I made for my youngest, who's a boy, I made them all gender neutral because we didn't know what the gender was until the end of the pregnancy. And so those things have been handed down to my nieces and nephews. So all I have left in our house are things that I made for Rosie. So I brought two things to show you today. The first thing I have is a baby blanket that I made for her. This is off of a pattern I found on Pinterest. I'll see if I can find it to put the link below. Please excuse this booger. It was originally in Dutch, I want to say, and then someone translated it. And I'm so glad they did because it's a beautiful pattern. It's a square pattern, and then you put them all together. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of like a little flower mandala, and it's just a 4x4 little square blanket. I like these kinds of blankets for small toddlers, like older babies, because they have enough holes in them where I don't feel nervous letting them like sleep with it or anything, as long as I keep an eye on them, because even if they were to get it on their face, there's like plenty of room that they could breathe, and the holes aren't so big that they're going to get anything stuck in the holes. Of course, I never did let her sleep with this at night because it still made me nervous. Only at nap time, whenever I could keep an eye on her. And now it just kind of stays in her room, and I'm assuming she'll use it for her babies, like her baby dolls and stuff. I thought about trying to add on some squares to it to make it bigger for her, but she really wants another blanket like the one that I'm making my son, so maybe we'll just start a new one for her. So yeah, I'll try to put the pattern for that below, and this is just made out of acrylic yarn from Walmart. I couldn't tell you the brand or the color, but go in the kitchen, please. This is why I have a hard time filming often, because there's usually someone always around, which is fine. But it's easier when everyone's asleep. Okay, so the next thing that I have made for little Rosie is this dress. I love this dress. Cute little yellow and green sundress, kind of. I actually just sewed the tag in this morning because it's hard to tell what's the front and what's the back. So, well, it doesn't look like it would be hard to tell, but sometimes I get confused. So I went ahead and put a tag in it. I made this for her this past fall. And I made it a little big so that it would fit her again this year, which it still does. Maybe we could get another year out of it next year. We'll see. But if not, we'll just pass it on to my nieces. But this is the Simplicity. Oh, my phone's dying. Okay, I'm going to try to be quick. I always charge my phone before, but my battery is the worst. This is a Simplicity 2377.
I do hear Mom.
Okay, I'll get her in a minute. There's different options. This is actually a corduroy feeling fabric, and then this is just like an old, I think it's like a sheet or something that I had in my fabric stash. Very easy to follow little pattern. This is the first time I ever did gathers, and every now and then a little piece will pop through, like right here, that I didn't quite get all the way, but I just go in with a needle and fix it. And if you look at all the seams, it's not the best, but it's wearable and she loves it, so I love it. Now I have one more thing to tell you guys about. before I go because I don't want my phone to die and erase all of this. I have really been into reading lately, and if you are also a reader, if you like fiction, 2 books that I just finished, We Were Liars and The Woman in the Window, fantastic books. We Were Liars I read in one sitting. The Woman in the Window read pretty quickly. There's also a movie on Netflix. Not as good as the book, that's always the way it is, but it's still a good movie. So if you're interested in like thriller, suspense kind of things, you should watch it. Or read the book. The book was way more suspenseful and way more thrilling, but you know, that's just the way it is. Hey Porter, leave her alone please. And now the whole house is waking up, so. Okay, I'll get her in a minute. I don't think she went to sleep. And right now I'm reading this book, Big Little Lies. I'm about a third of the way done. I've heard this has a huge twist at the end, which I'm really excited to find out. I read it before I go to bed at night for a few minutes. The storyline picks up pretty quick, and this is another like thriller, suspense kind of book. And so far I'm loving it. So if you are into reading fiction, thrillers, suspense, drama, just drama, I think this is going to be a good one too. And I also have some new books that I ordered on Amazon back here. Can't speak to how good they are because I haven't read them yet, but they will be in the lineup after this one. Okay, I hate to go so quickly and so rushed, but my phone is about to die and Porter's awake and he's telling me that Rosie is awake, and yeah, so I better go. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'm sorry it's kind of crazy. Can you say thanks for watching?
Thanks for watching.
I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and if you enjoyed this video, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Happy crafting. Bye-bye.